Before the video starts, I just want to tell you guys to please subscribe to the channel for more NBA content like this. I post 2 videos a week on all things NBA basketball, so if that's something you're interested in, I would appreciate the support. Also, please be sure to leave a like on the video. That helps a lot with helping this channel grow. Anyways, back to the video. Is this thing on? Alright, we're here. This is my first time doing this face cam stuff, so this is me. I think this is my first time doing this on camera stuff, so hi. This is me, the guy you've been watching doing the NBA videos and stuff. And I figured that I do an in-person stuff because I feel like what happened yesterday with the NBA was just so intense that I felt like I had to be on camera to talk about it. I couldn't just hide behind the mic and have some 2K gameplay in the background. I had to be in person, on camera, to talk about it because it was just a ridiculous night. It was good, it was bad, it was ugly, it was stupid, it was all of it. And I felt like I had to talk about it in person, so here I am. So yesterday we had game 2 of the Bucks and Heat, and then we also had game 7 of the Rockets and the Thunder. And both of those games were incredibly intense, and they were incredibly weird at the same time. And I'm basically just going to talk about it because the way everything unfolded with both of the games were so weird that it was just you were left wondering what happened. My bad, I had to take the headphones off because stuff was going on. But alright, let's just first talk about the Bucks and the Heat, because the way that that game happened, first of all, it was a good game. Let me just get that out of the way. Okay, so early in the game, Heat were making their shots. They were doing everything they were supposed to do, and it looked like they had it going again. So they picked up right where they left off with game 1 because that was a great game to start off, and it looked like they hadn't lost any momentum. Except for Jimmy Butler, though, because he only had, I think, 11 for the whole game. That's a shocker, because to go from 40 to 11 and for the Heat to still be up on top early in the game showed that Duncan Robinson was making his shots. He wasn't making them in game 1. Tyler Hero was doing his thing. Bam Adebayo was doing his thing. Goran Dragic had an incredible first half. I think he had 17. No, not even. He had 20 something in the first half, which is insane. So the Heat overall were looking pretty good. Giannis was doing his thing on the Bucks side, but nobody else. And that's just how this whole series has been, with Giannis doing everything and then the Bucks just kind of standing around, not really, just kind of hoping that Giannis would carry, essentially. And the reason that the Heat were so successful is because the way they set up their defense around Giannis. I mean, they basically built a wall around him where anytime Giannis would come up to the half court, there would be 4 or 5, not even, there would be 3 or 4 Heat players right on the top of the key, ready to make sure that Giannis has no chance to drive to the rim. And they did that every time down the court, and Milwaukee had no answer, because if that's the kind of situation that the Heat have, you would think that Giannis could just drive and dish to an open 3. But first of all, nobody was really getting open, and nobody was really hitting their shots. So that left the Bucks in a weird position, because the Heat were playing great defense, and no one was there to bail out Giannis. Every time Giannis crossed that half-court line, he just kind of froze almost, and with the way the Heat were playing their defense, he had no choice, and it didn't help that nobody else was doing their part anyway. Okay, so I have to talk about the ending, because the way that happened was unbelievable. Because probably the last minute of the game, it looked like, okay, the Heat are, they've been able to close. It was a close game, but the Heat have been able to stretch it out long enough so that the Bucks can't come back in time. So the Heat are going to go up 2-0. The Bucks are in trouble. But then I think they were up 5. And then Milwaukee scores at the other end, and then it's an inbound pass to Butler, then it's a turnover, and Brook Lopez gets the layup. So then now it's a 2-point game or a 3-point game. And just like that, close instant, it led from what it looked like a Miami Heat victory to, oh, the game's close now. So that happens, and then Butler gets fouled, obviously, and then he has his 2 free throws, and he only had 10 points at this point. So he needed to make these 2 free throws to make sure that the Heat actually secured the victory, because it was way too close earlier. Butler misses the first free throw, hits the second free throw, so now it's a 3-point game for the Bucks, and they have a chance to tie. So we go to the other end. Milwaukee gets the ball. Middleton has it. He pulls up from a little bit past the 3-point line, misses it, but there's a foul. I believe it was on Dragic. I don't remember, but yeah, there was a foul called. And the way, when you saw that replay, you knew right away it was not a foul. It was a terrible call. And you could hear even Doris Burke in the commentary. She was definitely upset about it, and understandably so, because Dragic had his hands up like this, and Middleton shot, and he was like going towards Dragic when he shot the ball. So it wasn't like he was trying to draw the foul, but like it really wasn't a foul because Dragic was just standing there like this. He wasn't really intentionally doing anything, and it was a bad call. It was a very bad call. So then they had 3 free throws, and next thing you know, tie game. So then after the game gets tied, we go to the other end and Miami has the ball. There's, I believe, 4 seconds left on the clock. Butler gets the ball and he takes a step back shot, misses, the buzzer sounds, but there's a foul called again. So now, not only did we have a terrible call on one end, we had a bad call on the other end, because then we saw the replay for that call, and that didn't necessarily look like a foul either. So then they go to the replay and the refs call it a foul. I don't know who it was on. I think Middleton. So then they also say the clock is at 2 zeros. No one's on the court. Butler shoots the free throws. So all he had to do was just make one and it was game over. And he did. So the Heat won. So that ending there was just weird. And I couldn't really describe my emotions watching that. And I can't really... It was just such a roller coaster of emotions because you're like, oh, the Heat won. Oh, it's close. Oh, it's a foul. Oh, another foul. Like, what happened? And it was just so, like, weird the way it happened. It was just such an ugly ending because you have a bad call on one end, a bad call on the other end, and you end the game on a free throw. Like, come on, really? Like, this is playoff basketball, and you have these refs making these, like, terrible calls in late game decisions. Like, come on. But yeah, with that, the Heat are up 2-0, and the Bucks are in trouble now. So, what happens now? Because the Bucks, right now, they need a significant change to their game plan if they're going to win this series. Because to be in a hole right now, it's going to be very hard for them to catch up. And the Heat have all the momentum right now. So, after winning 2 straight, they can possibly win another 2. I mean, it looks like it probably will. And for the Bucks to be the best record in the NBA, to go out in the second round when you were expected to be the East, to win the East, that's a huge disappointment. And it shows, just like last year, the Bucks are a terrific regular season team, but when it comes to the playoff time, it's gone. It also doesn't help that Mike Budenholzer is just not a good coach in playoffs, because why is Giannis not playing? Giannis didn't really have that many minutes, which is absurd because he's your MVP, 2-time MVP, by the way. And the fact that he's not on the court is a disgrace. He should be on the court as much as he can, because you're in a playoff game and you're down. You need to be on the court. You need to have your star player on the court. And for there to be a minutes restriction on him, really? But yeah, if Giannis doesn't get any help right now, the Bucks are done for this season. And they basically have one more year to get their act together. And unless they fire a coach, get some new guys, new guys that are actually going to help Giannis, I think Giannis is out. There's already talks about, where teams he could go. He can go to Miami. He can go to Toronto. I've even seen Dallas floated around. But, the Giannis sweepstakes are going to start a year early at this point, unless the Bucks make significant changes, which is incredibly disappointing because it was not that the Bucks had a great team. They had a great regular season team, but it was just Giannis. Chris Middleton was their all-star, but he wasn't necessarily on Giannis's level. So, and then you had a bunch of okay guys after that, like Brook Lopez and Eric Bledsoe. But yeah, the Bucks, to go from the favorites to the East to being a second-round exit, that's not good. Okay, now let's talk about the Rockets and Thunder Game 7. So that one, obviously because of what happened with the Bucks and Heat, the game started before I could watch it. So the Oklahoma had a solid start. They were doing their thing. Harden did not have a good game. He definitely did not have a good game. Westbrook didn't either. I don't know what happened. Harden was not making shots. Westbrook was just kind of there. He wasn't really necessarily making any significant impact like you would expect from Russell Westbrook. And what made it worse for Harden was not only was he not making shots, but you had a 20-year-old undrafted player, Lou Dort, from the Oklahoma City Thunder, making threes like consistently. He had, I think, 30 that game. Like, you are James Harden. You are an MVP. You are one of the best scorers on this you are probably the best scorer in the NBA right now. You're not making shots, and you're letting an undrafted kid like rain threes on you. Like, that's not good. And low key for me, I predicted the Thunder would win, and part of that was because I wanted to see the Rockets be a first round exit just to see the slander on Twitter, because I know if the Rockets had lost, the slander would have been hilarious, because Russell Westbrook stands and Rockets fans are annoying people on the internet, and watching them melt down would have been hilarious, and the memes and everything would have been glorious. It wasn't all great for OKC either. Steven Adams, he was basically doing cardio. He got some significant boards, but he wasn't necessarily putting them back up. You know, he was just kind of running up and down. He wasn't really making any impact. And when it's a game 7, you need to be, and you're the big guy going up against a team that's running a small ball lineup. Steven Adams should be their top score, not the top scorer, but he should have a better impact than just running up and down the court and occasionally getting some rebounds. Like, that's such a disappointment. And if you thought the Bucks and Heat ending was bad, this one was even worse. Like, think of all of the fouls, the timeouts. Scott Foster was being a complete idiot, and the fact that it was Chris Paul and James Harden who already have beef with Scott Foster, and he was reffing this game, it was hilarious, and we already knew it was going to be mad, but it was just, you couldn't have predicted this. But yeah, you had, a shot here, or a foul here, and free throws here, missed free throws, everything, like, just, it was just weird, and I couldn't really describe it because the way it all unfolded was just so confusing. And then you go to the last possession. The Thunder have a chance to take the lead and knock out the Rockets. The ball goes to Lou Dort. He shoots the 3. James Harden blocks the shot. Lou Dort tries to throw the ball off of James Harden out of bounds, but he just throws it straight out of bounds, and it's Rockets ball. So that was a completely missed opportunity. And if you watch that final play, you could see like 4 or 5 opportunities where the Thunder had an easy score. And you know why? Steven Adams. Why did he... Okay, I'll show... There's a picture, and it's all over the internet, but you can see it. If you watch the final play, Steven Adams, he had a mismatch on him. All he had to do was raise his hand up, the inbounder to throw it all the way because the paint was wide open, dump it off to Adams, he lays it in, the Thunder win. That was all that had to happen. But instead, he came up. Why? And I loved Channing Frye's video on Twitter where he's just basically screaming at the top of his lungs on like his phone right at the TV, like, what are you doing? Look at all these opportunities you missed.
Guys, what are they doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
So funny, and of course that's the way it ended. I hate endings like that because they're intense. The anxiety is super high, but like the refs just ruined these games, man. Both of them, like the terrible calls, the missed calls, the like confusing, like, oh, technical foul here, or reset the game clock, or 2 free throws here, nobody on the court. Like, what? Why? Like, this is the playoffs. Let the players play. I don't get it, man. And it sucks. It sucks. But hey, I guess you could say it worked because it was kind of entertaining. But yeah, Rockets win. They're playing the Lakers now. The Thunder had a terrific year, honestly. I'm proud of them. To go from a 0.2% chance of not making the playoffs to almost getting out of the first round, that's impressive. And these young guys that the Thunder have are incredibly talented. And with all the draft picks they have, I'm sure they're going to get some more young talent. And man, it's going to be great. I'm happy for them. Chris Paul is incredible. His leadership skills are like at the top. He's still at 35 years old, one of the top. He's such a talented player, even at his age. He's a Hall of Famer, no doubt. I think the Thunder had a great year despite, all the odds that were stacked against them. I think I'm done here. I'm like 17 minutes over, but yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, my first time doing this stuff. Let me know. I might do it more. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment below what you think about the last few games, and yeah, if you haven't already, please subscribe, support the channel, and turn on notifications as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.